thank you so much for being with us. I'm Jean-Michel. I'm the founder of RTC, which stands now for Real-Time Community. You remember that we started this as the Real-Time Conference in April 2020, in the middle of the pandemic. And thank you for the coffee, and please join us. And we started RTC as a fully virtual event using real-time technologies, about real-time technologies. And the main idea behind RTC was to break the walls between communities too often siloed. I used to be in charge of a conference called FMX in Stuttgart, which was focusing a lot on media and entertainment. Before that, Imagina in Monte Carlo. And my idea with RTC was, instead of creating a conference which would focus on one technology, one community, like animation or visual effects or automotive or architecture, etc., let's try to create something different which would focus on a technology or a capability, I would say, beyond the technology, which is real time. And at FMX, we had pioneered a lot of virtual production. We started in 2005, I think, talking about virtual production. So I could see the rise of virtual production and real-time technologies. Was very close to Marc Petit, Kim Library from Epic, and a few other players. And I left FMX, left Germany to come to New York. My son was born in New York in 2014, so it was difficult to go back and forth. At the beginning, it was easy, but after that, it became difficult. And I went to see Marc Petit and Kim Library, and asking them what I'm planning to create something called a real-time conference. If I do that, would you support? They said yes. And I'm very grateful to this. And we started RTC in the middle of the pandemic as a fully virtual event. And we had 4,000 people registered in 10 days. I never saw that in my whole career. I have to say that before that, we were supposed to have an in-person event happening in Munich, Paris, New York, Paris, New York, and Munich. We had to cancel of this because of COVID and transition into a fully virtual event. And in 1 week time, 4,000 people registered and 2,000 other people registered. So we thought, this is great. And there were different tracks. And the first track we had was about architecture. It was run by Alex Coulomb, who was in New York, and I was looking for who could help on this. And Alex Coulomb said, "I can," and brought. I think you were part, or some of you were part of the very first track. Your names were there, and then wonderful people joined who are in the room to support this track about architecture, engineering, and construction. And again, the idea was to have AC, to have virtual production, to have digital fashion, to have automotive, to have retail, 3D commerce, and bringing together all these people who are passionate about real time and who are pioneering real-time technologies and offering them a common roof to come together. Years went by, and we started the Real-Time Society with different special interest groups, one of them being devoted to architecture, engineering, construction, operation. And you, Austin, Reeti, Kerenza, and Mateusz Gawad took the lead on this thing. And here we are for this Spotlight event, which is the first of its kind. And to present the Spotlight event, I would like you, Austin, to say a few words.
Thank you. So I'm Austin Reed, and I'm so honored to
Here we go.
To be here today in San Diego. As JM said, it was our goal to start bringing the communities back together from post-COVID, have these very intimate relationships, and so that we can start sharing ideas with each other at a personal level. You know, that we have Reeti from HKS. We have our newest help, Mark Koppen. He's running the video today from WSP. We have Kerenza Harris back in the back from Morphosis. And we have Matt, he's joining us remotely in Poland, but he's from HOK, based out of DC. And we really wanted to make it sure that whether we're a big organization like HNTB or a small one like Morphosis, that we can collaborate with each other. We no longer need to be enemies, and we need to be frenemies, right? We need to share ideas together. And so that's why we came up with this concept to really do a spotlight event, bringing in industry talent. And Reeti's going to showcase what we're going to do today with the agenda. Reeti?
So we're going to start at the foundational aspects of it with GIS and things that WSP does, and then we'll continue with the digital storytelling aspect of how GIS and then building it up to what HNTB does with its ability to storytell projects and how real-time visualization is being used on their projects. Karenza will then take us through a tour of intelligent design processes, and really excited for that one as well. And then finally, we're going to wrap it up with a fireside chat with a bunch of our leaders and that we've co-created this workshop, workshop format where everybody is going to be sitting around with each other and will have the opportunity to ask questions. Those who are online as well can participate by asking your questions to this wonderful group of presenters and speakers. I'm really excited, and I hope everyone else is too. So thank you, and looking forward.
As I was saying, when we started RTC, the goal was to bring together different communities, too often siloed. And this is what we did through the conference, which are with all of these tracks, one after another. And what we noticed is that people were interested in the concept of this, of talking to other communities, but they were extremely busy with their own activities. And it was difficult for them to take the time to look into what automotive is doing, what digital fashion is doing, etc. I'm talking from the perspective of architecture folks. So we thought about it, and this is why we started these events, vertical events. So this is the first one. There will be a second one in January, mid of January in Munich, about automotive. In February, we will have something around virtual production, which will probably take place in Los Angeles and in London with a simultaneous event. In March, we might have something on interactive storytelling alongside GDC in San Francisco, or right before GDC in San Francisco. In May, we are in conversation with my former event, FMX, to see what could be done. Maybe we'll have to explore possibilities there, maybe on animation. In June, there's the Annecy Animated Film Festival, which is very interested in moving into video games, and in particular into cinematics for video games. So we could organize, and we already did that last year at Annecy, with a competition, an award ceremony for the best cinematics for games. So we could go a step further and organize a special event on this. We plan to do work with IKEA as well on the retail on 3D commerce aspect of thing, broadcast as well. So you see a whole series of vertical events along the year. Something which is important to, that it was important for us to understand is how do we position ourselves in front of all these corporate events, which one of them is taking place starting tomorrow at Autodesk University. Adobe Max is taking place starting tomorrow as well in Miami. There is MetaConnect, Unreal Fests, and so on and so forth. So how can we, as a small independent entity, keep going, facing these big giants who are organizing with a lot of power, a lot of marketing activities, a lot of money, and of course, very strong database? How can we keep going, and what is our legacy into this? And I think, and this is a discussion we want to have after this first event, which is a prototype. And thank you very much for being part of this adventure. We want to have a conversation about what makes this event different. And I think one thing which can make this kind of event different is the fact that since we are not attached to any brand, we can address topics that these brands wouldn't necessarily want to discuss, at least officially. It would be, the presentations that we all do. We have all of this tendency to just go to the shiny aspect of things and to show that what worked, what was successful. I think Spotlight event can be a place where we can discuss the challenges we face and how complex it is to implement these technologies within workflows and address these topics and have honest, candid conversations about these topics. I think this is one reason why we should come together. I also believe that the importance of conversation is important. It's crucial. The coming together beyond the presentations and having the possibility to dive into well, some of you are competitors in a way. You could claim some of you are competitors and different studios, but it's wonderful to see that you are a community as well, and you come together to address and hopefully to tackle this problematic. The third angle that we want to develop is possibly to get into a scientific approach as well, at least partially, which would mean that we could also have a call for paper and for papers, and or at least to ask people to submit proposals and have one or two talks or presentation which would be on the more scientific aspect of things. Another way for us to differentiate ourselves would be to identify some problematics that everybody wants to tackle. When we started the Real-Time Society, we created these special interest groups, and the idea of the special interest group, you stop me, Mark, when they're online, okay? When the idea of this special interest group was to identify problematics that the AC studios are facing, or the automotive manufacturers are facing, or the retail on 3D commerce are facing, to identify one problematic which is common to all of us or all of you, and to work on this for 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, and to come back together with kind of, this is where we stand. The problematic we started with, well, this is what we did to, maybe not to solve, but at least to work on a specific problematic. So identifying a problematic which matters for all the studios, it might be a way to go. So we have different ideas, and we look forward to discussing these ideas with all of you, and we keep going with not only the Real-Time Conference, but also the Real-Time Society, this professional organization which serves as an umbrella for this. So if you are not a member of the Real-Time Society, please join and join the meetups that we organize on a monthly basis in these different for these different communities. We organize the Real-Time Economic Summit, which is focusing only on the economic impact of real-time technologies on the bottom line. There's a lot of events and conferences like this one today, which are focusing on the technology, workflows, etc. But it's important to discuss as well the economic aspect. And we have, of course, all kinds of other ideas. Our speakers online or not yet? Maybe what I can tell you, and sorry, yes, maybe you have some reactions on this on what I just said. So if you want to react, I'm sure Nefra wants to say something. I see through a big smile that she really wants to say yes. No, I totally disagree, Jean-Michel.
So when you're looking for members to grow the community, are we looking for people who are in the say, AEC side? Are you looking for people who are in the, say, EPIC and like the technology side? Or where else do we want to look? And how do you advertise, right? Like, I didn't know about it until Reeti talked about it.
Thank you so much. It's a very good question. And we are not very good at advertising, and we are not very good at communicating this because we're a very small team, and we were, it's what I was mentioning, the fact that we're almost too successful at the beginning. It went very fast, and we were 4 or 5 people and having to deal all of these things. But again, the idea is that within all these industries, all these communities, architecture, automotive, retail, fashion, etc., there's always a group of people who are pioneering real-time technologies or future technologies, upcoming technologies, not necessarily only real-time. I personally believe that real-time is the goal, and that AI and all different other technologies are enablers to which will allow real-time. But the idea was that these leaders who are pushing are facing a far bigger group of professionals who are reluctant to changes, who are not necessarily willing to get into who are afraid, who are maybe considering themselves too old, who cannot cope with this acceleration, and wanted to offer a space, a room for all these pioneers who are advocating for real-time technologies to come together and to comfort themselves, to discuss the problematic that they are facing, because as I was saying, it's easier said than done. And this transition is much, much more complex. And we all know that beyond the promises which were made, the reality can be much, much more complex. So that's the idea of the real-time society, is to offer a platform for all these aficionados to come together.